Hello guys, maraming salamat po for joining us again on this podcast. I'm your host, Christian Esguerra. Again, this is your Facts First podcast, a regular habit for many of us now. Well, sa ngayon pa pag-uusapan natin ang, as usual, ang mainit na politika, especially sa lokal. Pero this time, we will focus on Davao City, ang nalalapit na mayoral election in Davao City sa 2022. So para sa araw na to, for this particular podcast, we will be joined by one of those who are challenging the Dutertes, the reign of the Dutertes in Davao City. I'd like to welcome on this podcast, Atty. Ruy Elias Lopez. Maraming salamat po for joining us on this Facts First podcast, Atty. Lopez.
Magandang umaga rin, Christian. It's my pleasure to be your guest. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Bago po natin pag-usapan yung kandidatura niyo sa pagka-alkalde sa Davao City, medyo kilalanin po muna natin kung sino si Atty. Ruy Lopez. When I first encountered your name, ang naisip ko, pinangalan ba to because of chess or because of the Explorer? Ano po ba? Avid chess player po ba ang father or siguro yung mother niyo po before?
Oh, it's my father. My father was an avid chess player, but I am not an avid chess player. My name came from galing sa Ruy Lopez, Mexican grandmaster in chess. No? So the famous openings in chess like pawn to king 4, pawn to king 4, knight to king bishop 3, knight to queen bishop 3, and bishop to knight 5. Yan yung Ruy Lopez opening. Doon galing ang pangalan ko, Ruy Lopez.
Hindi kayo avid sa lagay na yan, ha?
Ha? Hindi.
Hindi pa kayo avid sa lagay na yan. Okay.
I have the second name of Elias, which is the name of my father. Pangalan ng father ko yun. Pero, 10 kami magkakapatid, 7 lalaki. And lahat kaming lalaki, lahat may second name as Elias. Except for the eldest brother, who is Elias Lopez Jr. But the rest are all with second names as Elias. So, my father, ang chinus niya, only 1-syllable names or 2-syllable names. Hindi pwedeng mahaba kasi may second name na Elias. So my name is Ruy. I have a brother's name, Paul, Raul, only short names. Yun lang ang pangalan namin.
So basically, that's one trivia. No? Dala-dala nyo lahat ang pangalan ng father nyo as a second name.
In my experience, double-edged yan eh. Double-edged yan if you carry the name of your father. No?
Bakit po?
Kasi if your father does good, then you benefit from it. If your father does bad, then you will suffer from it. Also, in the same way, if I do good, it will benefit my brothers and my father. If I do bad, it will also, my brothers and my father definitely will suffer from that. Double-edged yan eh.
In your case, which edge of the sword are you experiencing?
I'm right there in the middle. Sometimes, bugoy tayo ng konti, ganyan. Sometimes we do good, but it is my father. We carry that name of my father. That's why he died 24 years ago. My father died 24 years ago. And we have always, ever since my father entered politics, we have always been careful about our name. We want it to be clean and to be honest and to be, respected.
Okay. So basically, hindi kayo bago sa politika, yung pamilya nyo at kayo po, ano? Pero bakit kayo nagdesisyon na tumakbo sa pagka-mayor ng Davao City sa 2022 at ang babanggain nyo ang mga Dutertes?
Actually, to tell you honestly, sa totoo lang, it is only my father. Ang father ko lang ang talagang politician, no? Because in politics, you have to be, you have to like it. You have to have the passion for it. Because it's difficult. Mahirap kasi ang maging politiko eh. Ang father ko became a politician since 1955. And our eldest was born in 1957. In other words, all of us 10, kami magkakapatid 10, since we were born, nasa politika na yung pamilya namin. Nasa politika. So, all the way up to 1997, from 1955 to 1997, nasa politika yung father ko, but not one of us followed him. Not one of us. Sa aming magkapatid, ang father ko, imbitahin niya akong when I graduated from the UP College of Law in 1985. And after I took the bar and passed it, the results came out in 1986. Ang father ko since then, after 1986, every elections, 1988, 1992, 1995, always talk to me about joining politics. And I sabi ko, hindi, ayoko. Mahirap yan. Kasi mahirap yung politika ng father ko eh. Yan ang totoo niyan eh. It's a sacrifice. It is not something that you'll be happy to be with. Mahirap na mundo yun eh. It is a sacrifice. First, number one, your family will suffer. Kasi pagka-politiko ka, ganito ang tingin to our eyes, kaming magkapatid. Pag nasa politika ka, number one ang people that you serve. Number two lang ang pamilya. So, ang priority is different, no? And then pangalawa, pag politiko ka, lahat 24/7 problema ng tao, you have to think and try to find ways and etc. And then people are all, of course, lahat nangangailangan ng tulong, you know? And sa politika, lalo na pagka election and every day, gumagastos ka ng sarili mong pera to serve people.
So yun.
What kind of a career is that? Di ba? What kind of career is that?
Matindi sakripisyo. So bakit kayo nag-decide to run for mayor po?
Yeah, because my father died when he was a congressman, sitting congressman in 1997. He died suddenly. And then during the wake of my father, siyempre, sa dami ng tao pumunta. Because my father was, I can tell, well-loved. My father was well-loved. Sa dami ng tao pumunta doon, everybody who went there was asking our family na sana may magsunod sa father ko. Sana may magsunod. So during the wake, after the wake, when my father was buried on a Saturday, the next day, Sunday, kasi mga kapatid ko, some are in America, lives in America, some are in Cebu, some in Laguna, some in Davao. I myself live in Manila, etc. We had to go back to our work the following Monday. So Saturday, nilibing ang father ko. Pagka Sunday, we have to have a family council to sit down before everybody goes back. And then in our family council, that question was asked. No? It was asked kung should we patuloy ba kami magpolitika or not, no? Because yung ang healing ng tao. So, ang ginawa namin, we sat down, 10 kami magkapatid with my mother there, and then we voted on the question. Magpatuloy ba kami sa politika or not? Magpatuloy ba kami? Now, we voted, we discussed it, and each of us, one by one, voted whether magpatuloy sa politika or not. The voting was 5-5. 5 against, 5 in favor. No? And my vote was, tama na. I mean, how many years? 40 plus years. Ang bahay namin na labas-pasok ang tao, politika lahat, labas-pasok. All serving people. No? So sabi ko, tama na. No? But since it's 5-5, my mother broke the tie. Okay. My mother. And my mother, sabi niya, ang mother namin, said, kung buhay ang daddy niyo, he would have liked someone to follow him.
Okay. And
continue him. No? So, it was broken. Then, because of my mother, we decided, okay, patuloy. Now, the question was, sino tatakbo? My mother, my mga kapatid ko, whoever. So, we discussed it. And after discussion, 8 of my brothers and sisters voted me to run because I'm the lawyer in the family. I'm the only lawyer in the family.
At kaya kayo nanalo the following year, 1998.
Yeah, it was only 6 months before the election.
Oo, masyadong mabilis.
Yeah, mabilis. So immediately I had to drop everything and run.
Okay.
No?
So
Nanalo ko.
basically naging congressman kayo from 1998 to 2007. So mahabang panahon din 'yan, no? Pero after that lull, bakit kayo nag-decide na sumabak uli sa politika?
2007?
Hindi, sa 2022, sa 2022, bakit kayo nag-decide na lumaban uli?
Kasi in 2007, we were allies with Duterte, Rodrigo Duterte. He was the only one there in politics, no? And in 2007, on my last term, he decided siya ang mayor and gawin ng kandidato vice mayor yung si Sara Duterte. A new graduate, college graduate, no? And I did not agree with him. And I told him that leads to corruption, that leads to abuse of power, there's no check and balance. So sabi ko, hindi ko pwedeng dalhin ang pangalan ng tatay ko sa ganyang gawain, sabi ko sa kanya. So that's why we separated from that day, 2007. And since it's my last term already, tinanong kasi sa akin dati ni Duterte kung what will I do after my last term. And sabi ko sa kanya, I'm a lawyer. I'm not like the mga politiko dyan sa Davao na ginawang karir at negosyo. Sabi ko, balik ako sa practice. I have a family to raise. So, bumalik ako pag-abogado. No? 2007. And 2010, ay kinonvince ko si speaker din, no? Si Boy Nograles. Yeah. Kinonvince ko siya. Sabi ko, Boy, kailangan nating tumayo being Davaoenos. We are from Davao. Kailangan tayo tumayo against this dynasty ni Duterte because this is bad for the city. And Boy Nograles agreed with me. We were really against that dynasty. But since magkaiba kaming kampo ni Nograles, I made the first move and talked to him. And he agreed. So lumaban kami. Nograles for mayor and I coming back as congressman. And but we lost. So the people voted for a dynasty. So sa akin, the people voted for a dynasty despite kampanya namin. So ako, well, yun naman gusto ng tao, balik na ako pag-abogado. And practically in a sense na I retired from politics.
So you retired from politics 2010. That was the last time you ran.
Oh, yes. I kind of disappointed. No? Sa tao, hindi ko maintindihan, bakit kayo, but of course they don't, maybe some don't understand, but anyway, I said, that's it. So, nag-concentrate na ako being a law practitioner and raise my children. And then, so 2010, every election, nakikita ko naman sa Davao, no, na post na sila. Wala na lumalaban sa kanila. So, nagmo-musical chairs na sila. Mayor yung father, tapos mag-vice mayor yung father, mayor yung anak, tapos magpalitan sila. Pagkatapos, pati yung congressman, kinuha na nila yung first district. So everybody is there. Puro Duterte lang. Nagmo-musical chairs na sila. Nung tumakbo si Duterte for president, since si Sara Duterte and Pulong were incumbent then, ang kailangan hawakan nila, mayor, vice mayor, hawakan dapat nila. Pangatlo, yung isa, congressman, yung isang district. No? There are 3 districts. Hawakan nila. Tumakbo si President Ruy Duterte for president, kulang sila ng isa. Kaya kinuha nila yung youngest, yung Baste. I don't know, anong achievement niya, whatever, whether he's a college graduate, I don't know. Basta nilagay naman nila, and naturally, walang kalaban, post, panalo sila lagi. No? Ako naman,
what convinced you?
Ako naman, siyempre, I was practically retired in politics. I raised my children, and my children graduated in Philippine Science High School, all 3 of them, all boys. Nag-graduate sila sa Philippine Science High School, dyan sa Diliman, and pagkatapos, they went to college, no, in UP and in Ateneo, and they graduated. And then after they graduated, naturally, start sila sa sarili ng buhay, just like me. So they found work and now are on their own na mag-establish ng pamilya nila. Mag-establish ng pamilya. But they have no families. They're all single. So, on their way to their own life. Di ba? On their way. Now, ako, what will I do now? Tapos na yung responsibility ko as a parent, in a sense, no? For raising my children, no? On that part, no? Parang sa akin, na-fulfill ko na. So, what do I do? No? So, kind of semi-retirement na in a sense. And then, this election came, no? And I said, since I have lots of time, now that my children are all right, no, and my family is all right, in a lot of time, I'm still that not old. I'm still 61.
No, bata pa.
I have 10 years. I have 10 years at least, no. So sabi ko, it reminded me of my father, no. Tama sila eh. Dapat, tama yung mga tao when my father died eh. Dapat someone will continue my father. Because, or continue, not necessarily me, somebody else, maybe another family. The way he ran the city, you know, helping people, the government, city government, which is very lacking sa Davao City. So sabi ko, since I have time, I'm still young, so sabi ko, sige, I'll put my name as a choice for the people. Kasi every election, walang choice ang tao eh. Walang choice. So ngayon, sabi ko, sige, lagay ako ng choice.
Okay.
Ito
ba was this your decision or talagang marami rin pumilit sa inyo? Encourage you para i-challenge yung mga Dutertes this time again?
No, I kept it quiet. Myself only and one or two people. Two people actually.
Pero kailan kayo nag-decide na tatakbo kayo for mayor?
Probably even at the start of the filing, I have not yet decided to run.
Kaya at the last minute kayo nag-file ng COC, no?
Last minute. Yeah, last minute. When finally, it came to my mind na ito yung gusto ng father ko na gawin ko.
Okay. Ito naman yung basic question.
Yeah,
of course, nasanay na yung mga Dabawenyo na puro Duterte for the past 33 years, no?
Right.
Except for one term. Why should they vote for you and not Baste Duterte? Or the other candidates?
I don't know. For me, I offered them. I am a lawyer, graduate from UP. I had lots of experience in practice law. I worked for the government. I worked, started as a University Legal Counsel of the University of the Philippines because of invitation and urging of then UP President Senator Edgardo Angara. And after that, I worked in the Court of Appeals. Nagtrabaho sa Court of Appeals as a confidential attorney, no, because I was thinking of becoming a judge. But my father became a congressman and my mother talked to me, sabi niya, tulungan mo daddy mo kasi first time niya magtrabaho sa Manila. Because all throughout the life ng father ko, all in Davao lahat ng kanyang work eh. He has been there, no. So first time niya mag-office in Manila in 1992 as a congressman. So sabi ng mother ko, tulungan mo naman yung daddy mo. So I became his chief of staff for more than a year, or only for more than a year, to set the office ng father ko, yung i-train yung mga staff and how papers are processed and how to help my father, bills and etc. in Congress. After that, I became a legal advisor of the National Power Corporation on the IPP projects, Independent Power Producer projects. I was the legal advisor, the lawyer for all IPP projects, biddings and implementation of the IPP projects. But after that, became boring. We formed a law office in Makati. And then my father died. So I became a congressman, and after that, I went back to law practice. No, ngayon, that's my experience. That's my experience. No, Congress, I could see how government works and etc. No, and then, uh, and then that's my experience. When I was a congressman for 9 years, 3 terms. No, because my father started it. Yung aming distrito kasi is almost 2/3 of the land area of Davao City. Actually, 60% plus of the entire land area of Davao City. There are 3 districts. The third district which we represent is 60% of the land area. So kapag 60% land area, no, mostly rural, no, and in the coastline, fishermen. Pagka ganun sinabi mo, when you think of infrastructure, no, infrastructure, rural area, infrastructure, walang tubig, walang kuryente, walang daan na maayos, puro gravel road at or logging roads. And maraming tubig because it's the mountain. So maraming rivers and creeks that people have to cross. So you need bridges, you need schools. Schools are far away from each other. There are 82 barangays. So wala lahat yan in a sense, very underdeveloped inter-district. My father started it, and then when I became a congressman, I continued what my father did. No? So after my last term, natapos halos lahat ng kailangan na bridges, nagawa ko na. How many bridges did I have built? Concrete bridges, probably more than 15. No, kasi alam mo, pag bumaha kasi, yung mga tao na nakatira sa interior, mga interior barangays, cannot cross it. No, cannot cross it.
Okay.
Ngayon, pag emergency, paano nila dadalhin yung pasyente nila across the river? Those naman yung pauwi, yung galing sa city, pauwi sa kanila, hindi makabalik dun sa barangay nila, sa bahay nila, because they cannot cross the river.
Okay.
So ginawa ko lahat, everything, roads, ang kuryente, halos matapos na doon sa upper part, hanggang doon na naabot. Kilometers of post and wires yan, and then roads. Nagsemento kami ng roads in all barangays. Sinemento namin, especially the difficult part, kasi mountainous so mga paakyat niyan, mahirap yan So yan ang unahin namin sa sementohin. And then schools. Ang schools, ang lalayo. So we have to establish high schools because maraming hindi nakatapos ng high school kasi ang high school is 2 barangays away. So we have to build high schools and establish high schools in all barangays. We have to build classrooms, teachers, and everything.
Okay.
So more or less natapos na rin. So with my experience, I said, siguro, I can do also the same and more if I am the mayor of Davao City.
Okay.
No.
Now, given your experience,
and then in my experience, the same way as my father did. My father died, long time, mayor, city councilor, vice mayor, 44 years in politics, I think. And all the entire 44 years, my father had a clean name. Walang issue.
Okay.
So,
let's talk about your chances, Attorney Lopez naman. So, nilista niyo yung experience niyo as a congressman, yung background, yung achievements ng father niyo, tapos yung qualifications niyo. There's no question you're more than qualified to be a mayor of Davao City. Pero what about your chances against the Dutertes in 2022?
Yeah. 35 years sila. 35 years. That's a generation. 35 years sila nakaupo. Si Ruy Duterte and his children, including his children, from the time Mayor Duterte became a mayor. So 35 years na yan, ang karamihan ng ginawa ng mga Duterte is different from what my father did, was consolidate and themselves in power. So what do? Puro pamulitika. For example, contractual employees. Contractual employees now is twice the number of regular employees of the Davao. Why these contractual employees? Ito yung mga barangay captain, kagawad, yung mga anak nila, 1530 sa City Hall. Kasi to keep hold on them, no? Including media, including everybody else. I think don't, I don't know. But anyway, so everybody else, consolidate nila. And since mayor and vice mayor, lalaki ng intelligence fund, discretionary fund ng mayor, na hindi ino-audit ng COA. Ang lalaki. So, all throughout these years, they have built I would say, enriched themselves in power, and everybody is all the co-opted by them kasi because of the employment, no, and benefits of, if they throw in benefits to this, even the local politicians, yumaman sila lahat.
Yun nga eh. Given that situation, kaya nyo ba talunin si Baste? Kakayanin nyo ba talunin si Baste?
How can you beat something like that? Kaya. Di ba? Tanong mo, kanila lahat. Appointed niya yung COMELEC. Kanya lahat doon sa Davao. Kanya lahat ng police. In the 2010 elections, I have 4 leaders that were killed. Kaya natakot na mga leader ko. So natalo kami.
Teka lang, liwanagin ko lang, attorney. Kasi tinatanong ko kung kaya nyo talunin si Baste. Sabi niyo, paano tatalunin?
Yeah, I'm just explaining it to you, no? The situation. No? They have the money. They have the machinery. Now, double pa machinery. Hindi lang yung local offices, pati national offices. They can utilize that. No? Ganyan ang ginagawa sa politika eh. Then, tanongin mo, ba't ako lumaban pa dyan? Nobody stood up in Davao. Lahat sa Davao, takot sa kanila. Lahat, takot sa kanila. Nobody stood up. Kaya ako nagtakbo. Sabi ko, sige, ako na. Then how will I beat them? Well, I have faith and trust sa pag-iisip ng mga taga-Davao. Ang tingin ko yung mga taga-Davao, hindi ganyan na ang pag-iisip. Ang gusto nila, mas maayos na buhay. Mas gusto nila na ang gobyerno hindi kinatatakutan. Dapat ang gobyerno ay tumutulong sa kanila. Mas gusto nila hindi pamulitika lahat, kundi ang gobyerno should not be just pamulitika. Kasi ang father ko, ganito siya pagka-politiko eh. He won and lost a lot of elections. But ganito ang politika ng father ko. When he wins, then he works to the best of his ability. Find solutions to problems. Perform well and have results. No? And then in the next election, for re-election, for example, hoping that the people will recognize na yung ginawa mo, and then pag ginawa yun, the people recognize, they will elect you back. Ganun ang politika ng father ko. In other words, you just work and then hope for the re-election. People will, if the people doesn't want you anymore, then that's it.
Okay.
No?
So
with that, I'll tell you, when I filed, medyo may undercurrent in Davao City, no? Na disappointed and disgruntled already with the Dutertes. Kasi kung sino-sino na lang ang sa kanila, walang experience. For example, like Baste, becoming a vice mayor, walang experience, or nothing. You know? So siguro maybe I over myself, maybe they would like me. That's why how you ask me, how will I beat them? Well, I'll just have to face the trust and hope to the people of Davao, ng individual.
Ito pala.
Sila.
Okay. Tanungin ko naman kayo regarding this. Sa tingin nyo, parang the fact na si Duterte, di ba, naging presidente, tapos yung anak niya si Sara tumatakbo for vice president, si Baste biglang nag-substitute for Sara for mayor sa Davao, si Pulong seeking a second term as mayor ng first district. Congressman ng first district. So basically, spread out sila hanggang sa national level, no? The fact na si Baste Duterte, yung bunsong anak doon sa tatlo, ang tumatakbo for mayor now, do you consider this as some sort of a weak point Kumbaga, a good opening for others na mabigyan naman ng tsansa?
When I filed against Sara Duterte. I didn't know that it will be Baste. No, I filed against Sara Duterte. Now it came out that it's a Baste Duterte that I'm up against. Okay. Now, honestly, of course, better chances for me. Kasi ang experience as Vice Mayor, I don't know. Nobody in Davao talks about his performance as Vice Mayor. I mean, at least from my friends and people that I know, I haven't heard people talking about him. His performance as Vice Mayor, I haven't heard. Whether for good or for bad. Nothing at all. And then when he ran for Vice Mayor, he was unopposed. So it's the first time for him to enter politics 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Would you say would you say na yung situation yung ngayon against Baste Duterte in the 2022 mayoral election, kumbaga, you're not exactly running against someone with so many achievements to talk about, but instead, ang kalaban nyo rito, brand. Tama po ba yan?
And money and goons and influence. Yan ang kalaban namin. It's not Baste. It's the brand. Yan ang kalaban namin. Because
paano nyo tatanong? Okay, kalaban nyo, makinara, no? Well-known naman yung machinery nila dyan. Pero paano nyo babanggain yun? For example, they have funds to actually wage a credible mayoral campaign.
Yeah. More than credible. They splurge.
Kayo. Kaya nyo ba tapatan yan?
Of course not. I don't have that money. We did not enrich ourselves. All my money is from my work as a lawyer.
So yun nga, talk to us about your campaign. Paano nyo lalabanan yung Duterte brand for mayor?
The same way as my father did. Because according to him, my father, in elections, I mean, this is my father's view. No? In elections, the important thing is it's 90%, 90%. We call it in Bisaya, kugi. We call it kugi.
Kugi.
That was effort. Effort. It's an effort. When you campaign in election, kailangan really work for it. No? Really work for it. No? That's my father's motto in elections. And that's the same thing that I will do. Although different now. Because when I ran as congressman before, all I had, just like my father, are all volunteers. No allowances, nothing at all. They're all volunteers campaigning for me, just like the way they did for my father. In 1998, 2001, 2004. All volunteers. Now, mahirap na.
So kailangan mas gagastos kayo ngayon.
Oh, because some people naturally hindi nagagalaw kung walang panggasolina. Paano niya, if you ask somebody to go to that person riding a motorcycle, kailangan bigyan mo ng panggasolina. Okay. And especially Davao City, a big land area, and everything else, campaigners. But still, I'm hoping for volunteers. And there are volunteers for me. Yes, there are. There are still people na ganun ang volunteers. So, I'll tell you, Christian, it's not easy. That's why nobody fights them.
Okay.
Nobody stands against them.
Ano parang tingin nyo rito sa ano? Kinuwento nyo yung break nyo with the Dutertes noong 2007, no? Kasi nga, ayaw niya ng dynasty. Pero since then, mas lumala, di ba? The president became the president of the Philippines. He really wanted his daughter na pumalit sa kanya, di ba? Kaya nagkaroon ng break.
President. Right.
Bakit sa tingin nyo umabot ng ganun? Parang mas lumaki pa yung dinastiya, umabot pa sa national.
Hindi na sila maka-attract for what they have done. They have to protect themselves. That's why they have to be mayor and vice mayor. Why? Because yung record sa City Hall. Di ba? Yung record, if somebody sits as mayor or vice mayor, ma-open yung record sa City Hall and what they were doing. It's very difficult to get
yung away,
documents or information.
Yung away po na mag-ama, is that really true? Kasi may mga iba nagda-doubt eh. Kaya taga Davao kayo. Is that
Ganito.
established
I'll tell you. When we were allies kami ni Rudy Duterte, when we were still allies, during one campaign sortie in a rally, kasi sa rally, habang nagsasalita yung ibang kandidato, katabi kami ni Rudy Duterte, so nagkikwentuhan kami. So sinabi ko sa kanya, sabi ko, Mayor, because he was then Mayor, sabi ko, Mayor, ilan mga anak mo? Sabi niya, yun na nga, no? Sinampulong, Baste, Sara, no? And sabi ko sa kanya, Mayor, pareha ba sila ng mga anak ngayon, the new generation now, which is the same lamentation of all parents. Pag, nag-iba na yung takbo ng, becoming independent yung mga anak, it's difficult for them to control them or guide them, no? So tinanong ko kay Duterte, kay Rudy, sabi ko, Mayor, so kamusta yung mga anak mo? Siyempre, sunod sa iyo lahat yan. Kasi sabi niya, yung isang anak ko doon, sabi niya, mas matapang sa akin yun. Yun hindi ko kaya. Sabi ko, sino anak mo na mas matapang hindi mo kaya? Sabi niya, yung babae, si Sara. Mas matapang. As I understand it, in the hiwalayan nila with his first wife, as I understand it, Sara sided with the mother. So galit yung si Sara against Rudy Duterte because he sided with the mother. So sabi ni Rudy Duterte to me, mas matapang sa akin yun, sabi niya.
So itong conflict na yun between the father and the daughter doon sa kung anong posisyon ng tatakbuhan dapat ng anak, whether for vice president or for president, talagang totoo itong conflict?
Hindi naman conflict. It's just that ayaw lang hindi madiktahan ni 100%, hindi madiktahan ni Rudy Duterte, the president, si Sara. Yun lang. So Sara wants to be also to think for her own. Ganun eh. Ganun siya eh. So it doesn't, unlike the others, mga kapatid, sunod lang na sunod. Ito, gusto rin niya maging sort of kind of independent. I don't know.
Kanina sabi niyo, hindi masyado napapag-usapan within your circle si Vice Mayor Baste Duterte. So basically, hindi alam kung ano yung record niya, sabi niya, no? Paano naman kayo mangangampanya for yourself and against him? Paano niyo ipapakilala uli yung sarili niyo?
That's what I'm doing now. Nagpapakilala ako sa mga tao again. To the new voters. Papakilala ko. That's how I do. And then tell them if I am going to be elected, I will be bringing the brand and the legacy of my father, Elias Lopez, the kind of governance that he does. Compared to the Dutertes, this is an alternative. I tell them.
Paano pala kwento niyo pala ng konti yung kasi naging long time ally yung family niyo ng mga Dutertes, no? Kinuwento niyo kanina yung break kung bakit kayo nag-split noong 2007. Pero gaano pa talaga katiba yung bond before between the Lopezes and the Dutertes? I understand your father, no?
Yeah.
Was also instrumental in helping the Rodrigo Duterte.
Yes, because that's true. That what was stated in Earl Pareño's, what I stated also in that Mindan News.
Yeah.
Because it started with my father was a Nacionalista Party member. NP siya. From the very beginning, NP. And the father of Rudy Duterte is also an NP. And the NPs in Davao region was Governor Vicente Duterte, who is the father of Rudy Duterte, Mayor of Davao, my father, and Senator Almendras. All are Nacionalista Party members. All of us were all of them are National Party members. However, during martial law, my father lost in 1971 as for election as mayor. He lost. 1971. Although he was the Mayor of the Year awardee for the first 3 years, on the fourth year, when rallies against Marcos, who is an NP member, nadamay ang father.
Damay.
So my father went back to law practice, 71. And then that came, 71, my father went back to law practice. And then that one came 1976, lumapit si Nanay Suling, because Suling Duterte was a city councilor in the slate of my father. The mother of Ruy Duterte was a city councilor in the slate of my father. No? And lumapit si Nanay Suling because namatay naman yung si governor, namatay na. So lumapit siya, humingi ng tulong, and the other golf, parang kalaro ng father ko sa golf, si August Tesoro, I think he was also killed, no? Si August Tesoro. August Tesoro talked to my father, yun. Because my father has always been like that. People come to him for help, and if he can lend a hand, then he does. So,
ano yung request?
The request to be appointed in government as a fiscal.
Si
So my
Rodrigo
father
Duterte.
said, yes, si Rodrigo Duterte. So my father said, sabi niya kay August Tesoro, alin doon ang anak ni Inting? Inting, because that's the father of Duterte. Yung Rodrigo daw. Yung bagong pasang abogado. Pero walang trabaho, notaryo lang doon sa somewhere there in Agdao or Boulevard, and then only renting a room kasi kinik out ni Nanay Suling si Ruy Duterte sa bahay nila. Why? Because Ruy Duterte was bringing his girlfriend na bar girl in the house. Ayaw ni Nanay Suling ng ganun eh. So pinalaya siya doon sa bahay. Nakatira lang sa renting a room there in Boulevard.
So natulungan ng father niyo si Rodrigo Duterte get appointed.
Yes, because professor ng College of Law, sa UP College of Law, si then Minister of Justice o Secretary of Justice, si Vicente Abad Santos, my father's professor. And Vicente Abad Santos was impressed by my father when he was a student. In fact, he was the one who recommended my father to take master's political law in Harvard or Georgetown, Yale, whatever. But anyway, so yun yung lapitan ng father ko. And then, Vicente Abad Santos, trusting my father, sabi niya, sige, sabi, tulungan natin. So, yun na nga, yun ang kailangan gawin. Gawa ng position kasi walang bakante sa fiscal position in Davao. So they have to create a new position para ma-appoint si Rudy. Tapos yun lang. And then in 1981, my father came back as mayor, no? Nanalo again siya as mayor kasi gusto ng mga tao. My father didn't want anymore. The entire family didn't want anymore na magbalik siya sa politika. Pero tinulak na naman siya ng tao. So tumakbo siya, naging mayor na naman siya. And then, Cory Aquino, and then there was an EDSA revolution. And then, when Cory Aquino sat si Nene Pimentel as the DILG, removed my father as mayor and put in the person Sa Prespicio. If you remember, the same immigration commissioner with the 11 Indians. Anyway, yun yung Sa Prespicio.
And then si Duterte was appointed OIC rin, no?
OIC. For 6 months, away sila. Vice Mayor, away sila. Okay lang. And then, nagka-local elections 1988. So, maglo-local elections under Tory government, 1988. So, nag-usap ngayon si Landring Almendras, Senator Almendras, my father, and Congressman, Assemblyman Nonoy Garcia of the 2nd District. Nag-usap silang tatlo here in Club Filipino with me as the 4th person. Nag-uusap silang tatlo. Inipilit ni Landring, Senator Landring Almendras, 4 kami sa table, pinipilit niya yung father ko to run for mayor, 1988. Sabi ng father ko, hindi ko na kaya. Nag-double bypass na ako, hindi ko na kaya yung trabaho, sabi ng father ko. Sabi ng father ko, ito si Nonoy, matagal lang gusto mag-mayor. Sabi ng Nonoy, ba't hindi na lang ikaw tumakbo? ikaw, Manila ako tumakbo. Eh, sabi ni Landing Almendras, sabi niya, hindi ka manalo eh. I don't know why did he say that. But anyway, so they were looking for a candidate for mayor of their group. And Nona Garcia promised a candidate from Batangas, the vice mayor. Yun ang kanilang kandidato. And Landing Almendras cannot nominate one. So, but he will try to nominate. So they went back to Davao City and they had a caucus also. And on that day, ipakilala na sana, dalhin na sana ni Nonoy Garcia in his house, yung candidate for mayor, eh hindi dumating yung candidate niya for mayor. Why? Kasi nalaman ng kalaban, kabilang grupo, na kinukuha siya as candidate for mayor. They offered the group, yung Cory group there, they offered the position to the candidate for mayor as vice mayor candidate in the other group. Doon pumayag, nagtakbo as vice mayor. So wala silang kandidato. Eh malapit na ang filing, end of filing of candidacy. So sabi ng father ko, wala kayong kandidato, kailangan natin ng kandidato. Yes. And there is just one person, since the start of elections have been called, have been going to the house, volunteering himself. One of them is Speaker Nograles.
Okay.
He went to the house, offered his services. Pag tumakbo mayor father ko, sabi niya, I will support you. Tutulong ako, ganyan, volunteering. And then the other one, there were a lot of people, but there's another one, si Rudy Duterte, offered himself. Sabi niya, basta father ko lang kandidato mayor, pero kung ibang kandidato, hindi na siya sasama. Doon lang, may father lang kandidato for mayor. Oh. So in that caucus meeting doon sa bahay ni Nonoy Garcia, sabi niya, wala kayong kandidato. Sabi ng father ko, kina Landing Almendras, wala kayong kandidato. Sabi niya, Rudy, halika. Because Rudy Duterte was there. Nandun kami, around din eh. Rudy, halika. Di akala ni Rudy Duterte, ano yung instructions ng father ko? Sabi niya, Rudy, bukas, file ka for candidacy for mayor. Sabi ni Rudy Duterte, sabi niya, ako, mayor? Sabi ng father ko, di ba abogado ka? Oh. Alam mo naman paano mag-file. Di ba? So, bukas, file ka. That's what happened.
So that's how it started.
Yeah. And not started the Duterte, but that's how he started.
As mayor.
And then, during the campaign, every day, nandun si Rudy Duterte sa bahay.
So malaki ang tulong ng father niyo kay Rodrigo Duterte.
Kinarga na father ko all the way.
Ito nga pala, tanong ko. Now, given that background, no, hindi ba kayo somehow nagre-regret na bakit ba ito natulungan? Kumbaga, again, hindsight 2020, no? Para bang lumaki yung dinestiya nitong tao na initially sinuportahan ng pamilya niyo. And now, you are the underdog against his son for mayor in 2022.
No, I mean, that's my father, believing because walang kandidato at Rudy Duterte kinarga at nanalo, then he was in a sense kind of behaved as a mayor of Davao City because my father was alive then. And during the wake of my father, yung mga politiko in Davao were telling me during the week, you watch out for Rudy Duterte. Magwala yan. Kaya ngayon ang namatay ng tatay mo. True enough. Because at that time before, he has to behave himself because there was my father.
Parang would you consider your father as some sort of a mentor to him? Naging ganun ba?
Not a mentor to him.
Sa politika.
Well, hindi marunong si Duterte sa politika eh. So my father, during the campaign, told him what to say, observe him. He told Rudy Duterte to observe my speeches, how to speak to the public. No? Magaling magsalita father in public, magaling. He can hold the audience in 3-4 hours. No, and the audience will not be bored. So it happened nga when we were campaigning for Rudy Duterte. Bakit kasama ako doon sa kampanya? Because my mother would want me to go with my father para punasan yung bantayan yung paninigarilyo ng father ko, make sure na nakakain siya, and become the assistant of my father, because sometimes, remind me on this, to tell this, etc. Instructions, no?
Okay.
Because I was a lawyer. No, but it's like this. At the start of the campaign, during the rallies, darating kami ng father ko, magsalita ang father ko, tapos alis na. So, the first week, ganun ang nangyari. The second week, yung mga other barangays na hindi pa napupuntahan, nakaschedule rally, mga barangay captains and leaders, pumunta sa bahay. And then, sabi nila, they requested my father, sabi nila, Sir, Mayor, pare, pwede ba pagdating sa barangay ko, sa rally, last speaker ka? And all of them were requesting my father, na last speaker ng father ko. My father was not a candidate. Tanongin ng father ko. Para hindi umalis yung mga tao. Para hindi umalis. Because nobody will listen to Duterte.
Okay.
But
sige.
Because of that, na-observe na ni Duterte, my father. In the campaign, nakilala niya kung sino. But mentor as a mayor, no.
Okay.
As a politician, he now learned from my father how to campaign, the leaders that you can trust, and the way you deliver a message to the people.
Okay.
Yeah, mentor of
Finally, Attorney Ruy, tanongin ko rin kaya. So, tumatakbo po kayo sa pagka-mayor sa Davao City sa 2022. Meron ba national party na nagkakarga sa iyo sumusuporta? At sino ang susuportahan niya namang presidential candidate sa 2022?
I was a Nationalist People's Coalition member.
NPC. Okay.
Just like my father. When my father died, he was an NPC already. He joined NPC in 1992 nung nagkawatak-watak ang Nationalist Party. So yes,
tinayunidan din yung NPC. Okay.
Yes, so NPC Danikuangco. And then after he died, when I won, I was an NPC all the way, no? And now Danikuangco died. Now I filed as an independent, no? As an independent. And then secondly, I don't have, as of now, I am not campaigning or talking about in my sorties sa hindi ko mini-mention about presidential candidate. Although tinatanong ng mga tao. For me, hindi muna. Bakit? Kasi I'm introducing myself to the people. Kung i-inject ko pa sa conversation namin yung presidente, baka makalimutan ako ng tao. So I have to concentrate first myself. But in the future, yes, definitely, I will have. But
pero eventually may iniisip na kayo? May supportado na kayo? Quietly?
Well,
nakapili na kayo?
Hindi pa naman nakapili, but I said, it's always the same for us, Christian. Kasi hindi kami, as I say, hindi kami yung the normal like my father, hindi kami yung normal politician, traditional politician.
Yung sino yung malakas?
Hindi, sa amin is principles. You must have values. Yun sa amin. So, who I support as president must naturally, logically, with the same principles and values I have as my father too. That's how we are. Ganun kami.
Attorney Ruy Elias Lopez, maraming salamat po for joining us on this podcast. Maraming salamat po sa kwento niyo. Good luck po sa inyong pagtakbo sa pagka-mayor sa 2022. Maraming salamat po for joining us today.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it for our podcast today. I'm your host Christian Esguera. Mapapanood niyo po ang interview nito sa aking YouTube channel. At the same time, the podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and Stitcher. Maraming salamat po.